I have a deep and I think very validated desire to express myself right now. So I just got up. I haven't even fixed my looks to look presentable, because social media a very visual form of communicating. But sometimes I feel that there's much more raw, urgent expression, at least in my case, maybe because I don't focus very well, that's sort of my nature. They contain the most substance. So here I go. So this topic I have wanted to talk about for a long time. I was trying to kind of put set of thoughts in some sort of logical and that the continuation sort of what I'm saying makes sense. But I think I have to do it right now, because I feel it's sort of wobbling, it's going to overflow, and I might lose some of the things I wanted to say, and I don't want that. It's caused, I've had a surgery recently. It wasn't very, I'm not very sick or anything like that, thank goodness. It's just, it was pretty urgent, pretty sudden, and the treatment I have received, while 99% phenomenal, and I will speak about my experience in my next video shortly, and won't be too excessive, that it really made me realize the time for me to express is now. And of course I am just one person, but perhaps but it starts from one person. So I want to talk about the treatment and the perception of the newcomers, the immigrants, the new members of a Canadian society in Canadian communities, based on my experience. I will be relating to the experiences of my colleagues and friends and acquaintances also a little bit. So, dearest Canadians, dearest Honorable Prime Minister and the government and the Parliament of Canada, all those groups that are here, established, much less vulnerable than us, much more peaceful because of that, and having much more voice. Please stop treating us in this infantilized manner. Now, from my studies, I do understand that when somebody speaks with an accent, it subconsciously triggers a bias in the perspective that that person is less intelligent, less capable. And that's just something that if we don't realize, we might not even know that we're doing it. I remember this was one of the topics during my studies when I was younger, because I have a graduate degree from a university back in Europe, and this stuck with me. And that's why also I want to talk about it, because if we don't, we as a group and we as individuals, we might not even realize it. Think about the effort being put and how much of it is its own separate set of skills to learn a new language in a communicative, clear manner. Wouldn't that require some level of respect? And yet every time I'm between people, often, especially when I step up in this very active role, active position, which I often do. I live by myself, just only with my precious little child. I am a solo or single mother, and as such, I often step up in the active role of someone that is in a more traditional way associated. Those qualities I represent are often associated with the male qualities, although, these are all terms that I think we are stopping to use them, but yet it probably still triggers this type of perspective in others. But I have to do it. It is in me, and it has to be in me to properly support my little family and myself, especially when I am at my most vulnerable, when I am sick or when my son is sick. But I see the response I receive. I hear the comments. I hear people saying to me, they're helping me much less than somebody else in front of me who doesn't have that accent, who isn't clearly a newcomer. Less help, less attendance, often a bit of irritation. What does this person want? Isn't she happy she's just here? That surprise. Why is she speaking? Why is she almost being so aware of what to ask for? This has to stop in the 21st century modern society, my dear people, who overwhelmingly have been amazing to us. But we have to talk about it first. And there is no space, not even allowance, nor permission to start a conversation like that in the society yet. And that is the biggest sort of trick that the Canadian society does to its newcomers. It convinces people before coming here. Mind you, I came here out of love. I came here because I fell in love with a Canadian. In fact, he is Italian Canadian. We are not together anymore, but very established, many generations Canadian family. And he kind of convinced me that the society is like that, especially because at the time we lived in Scotland, in United Kingdom. And over there, you would never receive that treatment. There was never that change of facial expressions when you hear the accent. There was never that attitude, oh, I can relax, I can be trying less, attentive less. That person doesn't have resources and she's too vulnerable to potentially call me out if I don't do all these things that I am supposed to do. But when it comes to the situation that has to do with my health and with helping me, or even more so my child, unfortunately, I cannot let it go. And you might be saying, what is this woman saying about we are the most polite nation in the world? Really? Or is it something that many of you often admit yourself, passive aggressiveness, pseudo-politeness? Do you know, I've heard on some occasions, very pejorative, rude comments made to me, purely based on the fact that I am a newcomer. In the professional setting, professional as in I was working, providing service, or indirect gaslighting when somebody was meant to support me, they were in the professional setting. Or public comments. I speak in a I have a pretty loud voice by nature, and I'm quite agitated sort of when I speak. That's kind of who I am. And had I been an Italian male, that would have been understood. But Eastern European female, how dare I? Speak louder. Even my manager, bring it down. Why? I'm not being loud. I just speak clearly. People in the cafeteria at the hospital lately looking at me with annoyance. Why is this woman speaking and asking questions and inquiring about something? Something, again, that was important to me, and I will speak on in more details in the following video. Why are you being so annoyed? Why are you even looking at me? My Lord, allow members of the society to be present and hold their ground. Don't get so easily irritated. Some crazy little hair got stuck. Now, and when the follow-up is that I cannot receive the service that is otherwise provided for the members of the society whose families have been here much longer. When